أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عَمَّ يتساءلون.
About what are they asking one another?
عن النبأ العظيم.
About the great news.
الذي هم فيه مختلفون.
That over which they are in disagreement.
كلا سيعلمون.
No, they are going to know.
ثم كلا سيعلمون.
Then no, they are going to know.
ألم نجعل الأرض مهادا.
Have we not made the earth a resting place?
والجبال أوتادا.
And the mountains as stakes.
وخلقناكم أزواجا.
And we created you in pairs.
وجعلنا نومكم سباتا.
And made your sleep a means for rest.
وجعلنا الليل لباسا.
And made the night as clothing.
وجعلنا النهار معاشا.
And made the day for livelihood.
وبنينا فوقكم سبعا شدادا.
And constructed above you 7 strong heavens.
وجعلنا سراجا وهاجا.
And made therein a burning lamp.
وأنزلنا من المعصرات ماء ثجاجا.
And sent down from the rain clouds pouring water.
لنخرج به حبا ونباتا.
That we may bring forth thereby grain and vegetation.
وجنات ألفافا.
And gardens of entwined growth.
إن يوم الفصل كان ميقاتا.
Indeed, the day of judgment is an appointed time.
يوم ينفخ في الصور فتأتون أفواجا.
The day the horn is blown, and you will come forth in multitudes.
وفتحت السماء فكانت أبوابا.
And the heaven is opened, and will become gateways.
وسيرت الجبال فكانت سرابا.
And the mountains are removed, and will be but a mirage.
إن جهنم كانت مرصادا.
Indeed, hell has been lying in wait.
للطاغين مآبا.
For the transgressors, a place of return.
لابثين فيها أحقابا.
In which they will remain for ages unending.
لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا.
They will not taste therein any coolness or drink.
إلا حميما وغساقا.
Except scalding water and foul purulence.
جزاء وفاقا.
An appropriate recompense.
إنهم كانوا لا يرجون حسابا.
Indeed, they were not expecting an account.
وكذبوا بآياتنا كذابا.
And denied our verses with emphatic denial.
وكل شيء أحصيناه كتابا.
But all things we have enumerated in writing.
فذوقوا فلن نزيدكم إلا عذابا.
So taste the penalty, and never will we increase you, except in torment.
إن للمتقين مفازا.
Indeed, for the righteous is attainment,
حدائق وأعنابا
gardens and grapevines,
وكواعب أترابا
and full-breasted companions of equal age,
وكأسا دهاقا
and a full cup.
لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا
No ill speech will they hear therein, or any falsehood.
جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا
As reward from your Lord, a generous gift made due by account.
رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا
From the Lord of the heavens and the earth and whatever is between them, the most merciful. They possess not from him authority for speech.
يوم يقوم الروح والملائكة صفا لا يتكلمون إلا من أذن له الرحمن وقال صوابا
The day that the Spirit and the angels will stand in rows, they will not speak except for one whom the most merciful permits, and he will say what is correct.
ذلك اليوم الحق فمن شاء اتخذ إلى ربه مآبا
That is the true day. So he who wills may take to his Lord a way of return.
إنا أنذرناكم عذابا قريبا يوم ينظر المرء ما قدمت يداه ويقول الكافر يا ليتني كنت ترابا
Indeed, we have warned you of a near punishment on the day when a man will observe what his hands have put forth, and the disbeliever will say, "Oh, I wish that I were dust."
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
والنازعات غرقا والناشطات نشطا
By those angels who extract with violence, and by those who remove with ease.
والسابحات سبحا فالسابقات سبقا فالمدبرات أمرا
And by those who glide as if swimming, and those who race each other in a race, and those who arrange each matter.
يوم ترجف الراجفة تتبعها الرادفة قلوب يومئذ واجفة أبصارها خاشعة يقولون أئنا لمردودون في الحافرة أئذا كنا عظاما نخرة
On the day the blast of the horn will convulse creation, there will follow it the subsequent one. Hearts that day will tremble, their eyes humbled. They are presently saying, "Will we indeed be returned to our former state of life, even if we should be decayed bones?"
قالوا تلك إذا كرة خاسرة فإنما هي زجرة واحدة فإذا هم بالساهرة
They say, that then would be a losing return. Indeed, it will be but one shout, and suddenly they will be alert upon the earth's surface.
هل أتاك حديث موسى إذ ناداه ربه بالوادي المقدس المقدس طوى اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى فقل هل لك إلى أن تزكى.
Has there reached you the story of Moses? When his Lord called to him in the sacred valley of Duwa, "Go to Pharaoh, indeed he has transgressed," and say to him, "Would you be willing to purify yourself?"
وأهديك إلى ربك فتخشى فأراه الآية الكبرى فكذب وعصى ثم أدبر يسعى فحشر فنادى فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى فأخذه الله نكال الآخرة والأولى.
And let me guide you to your Lord so you would fear him. And he showed him the greatest sign. But Pharaoh denied and disobeyed. Then he turned his back, plotting. And he gathered his people and called out, and said, I am your most exalted Lord. So Allah seized him in exemplary punishment for the last and the first transgression.
فكذب وعصى ثم أدبر يسعى فحشر فنادى فقال أنا ربكم الأعلى فأخذه الله نكال الآخرة والأولى.
But Pharaoh denied and disobeyed. Then he turned his back, plotting. And he gathered his people and called out, and said, I am your most exalted Lord. So Allah seized him in exemplary punishment for the last and the first transgression.
إن في ذلك لعبرة لمن يخشى أأنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها رفع سمكها فسواها وأغطش ليلها وأخرج ضحاها والأرض بعد ذلك دحاها أخرج منها ماءها ومرعاها والجبال أرساها متاعا لكم ولأنعامكم.
Indeed, in that is a lesson for whoever would fear Allah. Are you a more difficult creation, or is the heaven? Allah constructed it. He raised its ceiling and proportioned it. And He darkened its night and extracted its brightness. And after that He spread the earth. He extracted from it its water and its pasture. And the mountains He set firmly, as enjoyment for you and your grazing livestock.
فإذا جاءت الطامة الكبرى يوم يتذكر الإنسان ما سعى وبرزت الجحيم لمن يرى فأما من طغى وآثر الحياة الدنيا فإن الجحيم هي المأوى وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى فإن الجنة هي المأوى.
But when there comes the greatest overwhelming calamity, the day when man will remember that for which he strove, and hellfire will be exposed for all those who see, So as for he who transgressed and preferred the life of the world, then indeed hellfire will be his refuge. But as for he who feared the position of his Lord and prevented the soul from unlawful inclination, then indeed paradise will be his refuge.
يسألونك عن الساعة أيان مرساها فيما أنت من ذكراها إلى ربك منتهاها إنما أنت منذر إنما أنت منذر من يخشاها كأنهم يوم يرونها لم يلبثوا إلا عشية كأنهم يوم يرونها لم يلبثوا إلا عشية أو ضحاها.
They ask you, O Muhammad, about the hour, when is its arrival? In what position are you that you should mention it? To your Lord is its finality. You are only a warner for those who fear it. It will be, on the day they see it, as though they had not remained in the world except for an afternoon or a morning thereof.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عبس وتولى أن جاءه الأعمى وما يدريك لعله يزكى أو يذكر فتنفعه الذكرى أما من استغنى فأنت له تصدى وما عليك ألا يزكى وأما من جاءك يسعى وهو يخشى فأنت عنه تلهى كلا إنها تذكرة فمن شاء ذكره في صحف مكرمة مرفوعة مطهرة بأيدي سفرة كرام بررة.
The Prophet frowned and turned away, because there came to him the blind man interrupting. But what would make you perceive, O Muhammad, that perhaps he might be purified, or be reminded, and the remembrance would benefit him? As for he who thinks himself without need, to him you give attention, and not upon you is any blame if he will not be purified. But as for he who came to you striving for knowledge, while he fears Allah, from him you are distracted. No, indeed, these verses are a reminder, so whoever wills may remember it. It is recorded in honored sheets, exalted and purified, carried by the hands of messenger angels, noble and dutiful.
قتل الإنسان ما أكفره من أي شيء خلقه من نطفة خلقه فقدره ثم السبيل يسره ثم أماته فأقبره ثم إذا شاء أنشره كلا لما يقض ما أمره كلا لما يقض ما أمره.
Destroyed is man, how disbelieving is he! From what substance did he create him? From a sperm drop he created him and destined for him. Then he eased the way for him. Then he causes his death and provides a grave for him. Then when he wills, he will resurrect him. No, man has not yet accomplished what he commanded him.
فلينظر الإنسان إلى طعامه أنا صببنا الماء صبا ثم شققنا الأرض شقا فأنبتنا فيها حبا وعنبا وقضبا وزيتونا ونخلا وحدائق غلبا وفاكهة وأبا متاعا لكم ولأنعامكم.
Then let mankind look at his food, how we poured down water in torrents. Then we broke open the earth, splitting it with sprouts, and caused to grow within it grain, and grapes and herbage, and olive and palm trees, and gardens of dense shrubbery, and fruit and grass, as enjoyment for you and your grazing livestock.
فإذا جاءت الصاخة يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه لكل امرئ منهم يومئذ شأن يغنيه وجوه يومئذ مسفرة ضاحكة مستبشرة ووجوه يومئذ عليها غبرة ترهقها قترة أولئك هم الكفرة الفجرة.
But when there comes the deafening blast, on the day a man will flee from his brother, and his mother and his father, and his wife and his children. For every man that day will be a matter adequate for him. Some faces that day will be bright, laughing, rejoicing at good news. And other faces that day will have upon them dust. Blackness will cover them. Those are the disbelievers, the wicked ones.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا الشمس كورت وإذا النجوم انكدرت وإذا الجبال سيرت وإذا العشار عطلت وإذا الوحوش حشرت وإذا البحار سجرت وإذا النفوس زوجت وإذا الموءودة سئلت بأي ذنب قتلت وإذا الصحف نشرت وإذا السماء كشطت وإذا الجحيم سعرت وإذا الجنة أزلفت علمت نفس ما أحضرت.
When the sun is wrapped up in darkness, and when the stars fall dispersing, and when the mountains are removed, and when full-term she-camels are neglected, and when the wild beasts are gathered, and when the seas are filled with flame, and when the souls are paired, and when the girl who was buried alive is asked for what sin she was killed, and when the pages are made public, and when the sky is stripped away, and when hellfire is set ablaze, and when paradise is brought near, a soul will then know what it has brought with it.
فلا أقسم بالخنس الجوار الكنس والليل إذا عسعس والصبح إذا تنفس إنه لقول رسول كريم ذي قوة عند ذي العرش مكين مطاع ثم أمين وما صاحبكم بمجنون ولقد رآه بالأفق المبين وما هو على الغيب بضنين وما هو بقول شيطان رجيم فأين تذهبون إن هو إلا ذكر للعالمين لمن شاء منكم أن يستقيم وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله رب العالمين.
So I swear by the retreating stars, those that run their courses and disappear, and by the night as it closes in, and by the dawn when it breathes, that indeed the Quran is a word conveyed by a noble messenger, who is possessed of power and with the owner of the throne, secure in position, obeyed there in the heavens and trustworthy. And Prophet Muhammad is not at all mad, and he has already seen Gabriel in the clear horizon, and Muhammad is not a withholder of knowledge of the unseen. And the Quran is not the word of a devil expelled from the heavens. So where are you going? It is not except a reminder to the worlds, for whoever wills among you to take a right course, and you do not will except that Allah wills, Lord of the worlds.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا السماء انفطرت
When the sky breaks apart,
وإذا الكواكب انتثرت
and when the stars fall scattering,
وإذا البحار فجرت
and when the seas are erupted,
وإذا القبور بعثرت
and when the contents of graves are scattered,
علمت نفس ما قدمت وأخرت
a soul will then know what it has put forth and kept back.
يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم
O mankind, what has deceived you concerning your Lord, the generous,
الذي خلقك فسواك فعدلك
who created you, proportioned you, and balanced you?
في أي صورة ما شاء ركبك
In whatever form He willed has He assembled you.
كلا بل تكذبون بالدين
No, but you deny the recompense.
وإن عليكم لحافظين
And indeed, appointed over you are keepers,
كراما كاتبين
noble and recording.
يعلمون ما تفعلون
They know whatever you do.
إن الأبرار لفي نعيم
Indeed, the righteous will be in pleasure,
وإن الفجار لفي جحيم
and indeed, the wicked will be in hellfire.
يصلونها يوم الدين
They will enter to burn therein on the day of recompense.
وما هم عنها بغائبين
And never therefrom will they be absent.
وما أدراك ما يوم الدين
And what can make you know what is the day of recompense?
ثم ما أدراك ما يوم الدين
Then what can make you know what is the day of recompense?
يوم لا تملك نفس لنفس شيئا والأمر يومئذ لله.
It is the day when a soul will not possess for another soul power to do a thing, and the command that day is entirely with Allah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
ويل للمطففين
Woe to those who give less than due,
الذين إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون
who, when they take a measure from people, take in full,
وإذا كالوهم أو وزنوهم يخسرون.
but if they give by measure or by weight to them, they cause loss.
ألا يظن أولئك أنهم مبعوثون
Do they not think that they will be resurrected
ليوم عظيم
for a tremendous day,
يوم يقوم الناس لرب العالمين
the day when mankind will stand before the Lord of the worlds?
كلا إن كتاب الفجار لفي سجين.
No, indeed, the record of the wicked is in Sijin.
وما أدراك ما سجين.
And what can make you know what is Sijin?
كتاب مرقوم.
It is their destination, recorded in a register inscribed.
ويل يومئذ للمكذبين
Woe that day to the deniers,
الذين يكذبون بيوم الدين
who deny the day of recompense.
وما يكذب به إلا كل معتد أثيم
And none deny it except every sinful transgressor.
إذا تتلى عليه آياتنا قال أساطير الأولين.
When our verses are recited to him, he says, legends of the former peoples.
كلا بل ران على قلوبهم ما كانوا يكسبون.
No, rather the stain has covered their hearts of that which they were earning.
كلا إنهم عن ربهم يومئذ لمحجوبون.
No, indeed from their Lord that day they will be partitioned.
ثم إنهم لصالو الجحيم.
Then indeed they will enter and burn in hell fire.
ثم يقال هذا الذي كنتم به تكذبون.
Then it will be said to them, this is what you used to deny.
كلا إن كتاب الأبرار لفي عليين
No, indeed the record of the righteous is in Al-Liyin.
وما أدراك ما عليون
And what can make you know what is Al-Liyin?
كتاب مرقوم
It is their destination, recorded in a register inscribed,
يشهده المقربون
which is witnessed by those brought near to Allah.
إن الأبرار لفي نعيم
Indeed, the righteous will be in pleasure.
على الأرائك ينظرون
On adorned couches, observing.
تعرف في وجوههم نضرة النعيم
You will recognize in their faces the radiance of pleasure.
يسقون من رحيق مختوم
They will be given to drink pure wine which was sealed.
ختامه مسك وفي ذلك فليتنافس المتنافسون
The last of it is musk. So for this let the competitors compete.
ومزاجه من تسنيم
And its mixture is of tasneem,
عينا يشرب بها المقربون
a spring from which those near to Allah drink.
إن الذين أجرموا كانوا من الذين آمنوا يضحكون
Indeed, those who committed crimes used to laugh at those who believed.
وإذا مروا بهم يتغامزون
And when they passed by them, they would exchange derisive glances.
وإذا انقلبوا إلى أهلهم انقلبوا فكهين
And when they returned to their people, they would return jesting.
وإذا رأوهم قالوا إن هؤلاء لضالون
And when they saw them, they would say, Indeed, those are truly lost.
وما أرسلوا عليهم حافظين
But they had not been sent as guardians over them.
فاليوم الذين آمنوا من الكفار يضحكون
So today, those who believed are laughing at the disbelievers.
على الأرائك ينظرون
On adorned couches, observing.
هل ثوب الكفار ما كانوا يفعلون
Have the disbelievers not been rewarded this day for what they used to do?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
إذا السماء انشقت
When the sky has split open
وأذنت لربها وحقت
and has listened to its Lord and was obligated to do so,
وإذا الأرض مدت
and when the earth has been extended
وألقت ما فيها وتخلت
and has cast out that within it and relinquished it,
وأذنت لربها وحقت
and has listened to its Lord and was obligated to do so.
يا أيها الإنسان إنك كادح إلى ربك كدحا فملاقيه
O mankind, indeed you are laboring toward your Lord with great exertion and will meet it.
فأما من أوتي كتابه بيمينه
Then as for he who is given his record in his right hand,
فسوف يحاسب حسابا يسيرا
he will be judged with an easy account
وينقلب إلى أهله مسرورا
and return to his people in happiness.
وأما من أوتي كتابه وراء ظهره
But as for he who is given his record behind his back,
فسوف يدعو ثبورا
he will cry out for destruction
ويصلى سعيرا
and enter to burn in a blaze.
إنه كان في أهله مسرورا
Indeed, he had once been among his people in happiness.
إنه ظن أن لن يحور
Indeed, he had thought he would never return to Allah.
بلى إن ربه كان به بصيرا
But yes, indeed, his Lord was ever of him seeing.
فلا أقسم بالشفق
So I swear by the twilight glow,
والليل وما وسق
and by the night and what it envelops,
والقمر إذا اتسق
and by the moon when it becomes full,
لتركبن طبقا عن طبق
that you will surely embark upon state after state.
فما لهم لا يؤمنون
So what is the matter with them that they do not believe?
وإذا قرئ عليهم القرآن لا يسجدون
And when the Quran is recited to them, they do not prostrate to Allah.
بل الذين كفروا يكذبون
But those who have disbelieved deny.
والله أعلم بما يوعون
And Allah is most knowing of what they keep within themselves.
فبشرهم بعذاب أليم
So give them tidings of a painful punishment.
إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم أجر غير ممنون
Except for those who believe and do righteous deeds. For them is a reward uninterrupted.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والسماء ذات البروج
By the sky containing great stars,
واليوم الموعود
and by the promised day,
وشاهد ومشهود
and by the witness and what is witnessed.
قتل أصحاب الأخدود
Destroyed were the companions of the trench,
النار ذات الوقود
containing the fire full of fuel,
إذ هم عليها قعود
when they were sitting near it,
وهم على ما يفعلون بالمؤمنين شهود
and they, to what they were doing against the believers, were witnesses.
وما نقموا منهم إلا أن يؤمنوا بالله العزيز الحميد
And they resented them not except because they believed in Allah, the exalted in might, the praiseworthy.
الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض والله على كل شيء شهيد.
To whom belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and Allah over all things is witness.
إن الذين فتنوا المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثم لم يتوبوا فلهم عذاب جهنم ولهم عذاب الحريق.
Indeed, those who have tortured the believing men and believing women, and then have not repented, will have the punishment of hell, and they will have the punishment of the burning fire.
إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار ذلك الفوز الكبير.
Indeed, those who have believed and done righteous deeds will have gardens beneath which rivers flow. That is the great attainment.
إن بطش ربك لشديد.
Indeed, the assault of your Lord is severe.
إنه هو يبدئ ويعيد.
Indeed, it is He who originates creation and repeats.
وهو الغفور الودود.
And He is the forgiving, the affectionate,
ذو العرش المجيد.
honorable owner of the throne,
فعال لما يريد.
effector of what He intends.
هل أتاك حديث الجنود.
Has there reached you the story of the soldiers?
فرعون وثمود.
Those of Pharaoh and Thamud.
بل الذين كفروا في تكذيب.
But they who disbelieve are in persistent denial.
والله من ورائهم محيط.
While Allah encompasses them from behind.
بل هو قرآن مجيد.
But this is an honored Quran.
في لوح محفوظ.
Inscribed in a preserved slate.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والسماء والطارق.
By the sky and the night comer.
وما أدراك ما الطارق.
And what can make you know what is the night comer?
النجم الثاقب.
It is the piercing star.
إن كل نفس لما عليها حافظ.
There is no soul but that it has over it a protector.
فلينظر الإنسان مما خلق.
So let man observe from what he was created.
خلق من ماء دافق.
He was created from a fluid ejected.
يخرج من بين الصلب والترائب.
Emerging from between the backbone and the ribs.
إنه على رجعه لقادر.
Indeed, Allah, to return him to life, is able.
يوم تبلى السرائر.
The day when secrets will be put on trial.
فما له من قوة ولا ناصر
Then man will have no power or any helper.
والسماء ذات الرجع
By the sky which returns rain,
والأرض ذات الصدع
and by the earth which cracks open.
إنه لقول فصل
Indeed, the Quran is a decisive statement,
وما هو بالهزل
and it is not amusement.
إنهم يكيدون كيدا
Indeed, they are planning a plan,
وأكيد كيدا
but I am planning a plan.
فمهل الكافرين أمهلهم رويدا
So allow time for the disbelievers. Leave them a while.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
سبح اسم ربك الأعلى
Exalt the name of your Lord, the Most High,
الذي خلق فسوى
who created and proportioned,
والذي قدر فهدى
and who destined and then guided,
والذي أخرج المرعى
and who brings out the pasture
فجعله غثاء أحوى
and then makes it black stubble.
سنقرئك فلا تنسى
We will make you recite, O Muhammad, and you will not forget,
إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى
except what Allah should will. Indeed, He knows what is declared and what is hidden.
ونيسرك لليسرى
And we will ease you toward ease.
فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى
So remind if the reminder should benefit.
سيذكر من يخشى
He who fears Allah will be reminded.
ويتجنبها الأشقى
But the wretched one will avoid it.
الذي يصلى النار الكبرى
He who will enter and burn in the greatest fire,
ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا
neither dying therein nor living.
قد أفلح من تزكى
He has certainly succeeded who purifies himself
وذكر اسم ربه فصلى
and mentions the name of his Lord and prays.
بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا
But you prefer the worldly life,
والآخرة خير وأبقى
while the hereafter is better and more enduring.
إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى
Indeed, this is in the former scriptures,
صحف إبراهيم وموسى
the scriptures of Abraham and Moses.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
هل أتاك حديث الغاشية
Has there reached you the report of the overwhelming event?
وجوه يومئذ خاشعة
Some faces that day will be humbled,
عاملة ناصبة
working hard and exhausted.
تصلى نارا حامية
They will enter to burn in an intensely hot fire.
تسقى من عين آنية
They will be given drink from a boiling spring.
ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع
For them there will be no food except from a poisonous, thorny plant,
لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع
which neither nourishes nor avails against hunger.
وجوه يومئذ ناعمة
Other faces that day will show pleasure.
لسعيها راضية
With their effort they are satisfied.
في جنة عالية
In an elevated garden,
لا تسمع فيها لاغية
wherein they will hear no unsuitable speech.
فيها عين جارية
Within it is a flowing spring.
فيها سرر مرفوعة
Within it are couches raised high,
وأكواب موضوعة
and cups put in place,
ونمارق مصفوفة
and cushions lined up,
وزرابي مبثوثة
and carpets spread around.
أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت
Then do they not look at the camels, how they are created,
وإلى السماء كيف رفعت
and at the sky, how it is raised,
وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت
and at the mountains, how they are erected,
وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت
and at the earth, how it is spread out.
فذكر إنما أنت مذكر
So remind, O Muhammad, you are only a reminder.
لست عليهم بمسيطر
You are not over them a controller,
إلا من تولى وكفر
however, he who turns away and disbelieves,
فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر
then Allah will punish him with the greatest punishment.
إن إلينا إيابهم
Indeed, to us is their return.
ثم إن علينا حسابهم
Then indeed, upon us is their account.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والفجر
By the dawn,
وليال عشر
and by the 10 nights,
والشفع والوتر
and by the even number and the odd,
والليل إذا يسر
and by the night when it passes.
هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر
Is there not in all that an oath sufficient for one of perception?
ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد
Have you not considered how your Lord dealt with Ad,
إرم ذات العماد
with Iram, who had lofty pillars,
التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد
the likes of whom had never been created in the land,
وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد
and with Thamud, who carved out the rocks in the valley,
وفرعون ذي الأوتاد
and with Pharaoh, owner of the stakes,
الذين طغوا في البلاد
all of whom oppressed within the lands,
فأكثروا فيها الفساد
and increased therein the corruption.
فصب عليهم ربك سوط عذاب
So your Lord poured upon them a scourge of punishment.
إن ربك لبالمرصاد
Indeed, your Lord is in observation.
فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن.
And as for man, when his Lord tries him and thus is generous to him and favors him, he says, My Lord has honored me.
وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن.
But when he tries him and restricts his provision, he says, My Lord has humiliated me.
كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم.
No, but you do not honor the orphan.
ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين.
And you do not encourage one another to feed the poor.
وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما.
And you consume inheritance, devouring it all together.
وتحبون المال حبا جما.
And you love wealth with immense love.
كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا.
No, when the earth has been leveled, pounded and crushed.
وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا.
And your Lord has come and the angels rank upon rank.
وجيء يومئذ بجهنم. يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى.
And brought within view that day is hell. That day man will remember. But what good to him will be the remembrance?
فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية. فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي.
He will say, Oh, I wish I had sent ahead some good for my life. So on that day, none will punish as severely as his punishment, and none will bind as severely as his binding of the evildoers. To the righteous it will be said, O reassured soul, return to your Lord, well pleased and pleasing to him. and enter among my righteous servants, and enter my paradise.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا أقسم بهذا البلد وأنت حل بهذا البلد ووالد وما ولد لقد خلقنا الإنسان في كبد أيحسب أن لن يقدر عليه أحد يقول أهلكت مالا لبدا أيحسب أن لم يره أحد ألم نجعل له عينين ولسانا وشفتين وهديناه النجدين فلاقتحم العقبة
I swear by this city Mecca, and you, O Muhammad, are free of restriction in this city, and by the Father and that which was born of him. We have certainly created man into hardship. Does he think that never will anyone overcome him? He says, I have spent wealth in abundance. Does he think that no one has seen him? Have we not made for him 2 eyes, and a tongue and 2 lips, and have shown him the 2 ways?
وما أدراك ما العقبة فك رقبة أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة يتيما ذا مقربة أو مسكينا ذا متربة ثم كان من الذين آمنوا وتواصوا بالصبر وتواصوا بالمرحمة أولئك أصحاب الميمنة والذين كفروا بآياتنا هم أصحاب المشأمة عليهم نار مؤصدة.
والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها.
But he has not broken through the difficult pass. And what can make you know what is breaking through the difficult pass? It is the freeing of a slave, or feeding on a day of severe hunger, an orphan of near relationship, or a needy person in misery, and then being among those who believed and advised one another to patience and advised one another to compassion. Those are the companions of the right. But they who disbelieved in our signs, those are the companions of the left. Over them will be fire closed in.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها.
By the sun and its brightness, and by the moon when it follows it, and by the day when it displays it, and by the night when it conceals it, and by the sky and he who constructed it, and by the earth and he who spread it, and by the soul and he who proportioned it, and inspired it with discernment of its wickedness and its righteousness. He has succeeded who purifies it, and he has failed who instills it with corruption.
كذبت ثمود بطغواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوه فعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها.
Thamud denied their prophet by reason of their transgression, when the most wretched of them was sent forth. And the Messenger of Allah said to them, "Do not harm the she-camel of Allah or prevent her from her drink." But they denied him and hamstrung her. So their Lord brought down upon them destruction for their sin and made it equal upon all of them. And he does not fear the consequence thereof.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
والليل إذا يغشى
By the night when it covers,
والنهار إذا تجلى
and by the day when it appears,
وما خلق الذكر والأنثى
and by He who created the male and female.
إن سعيكم لشتى
Indeed, your efforts are diverse.
فأما من أعطى واتقى
As for he who gives and fears Allah
وصدق بالحسنى
and believes in the best reward,
فسنيسره لليسرى
we will ease him toward ease.
وأما من بخل واستغنى
But as for he who withholds and considers himself free of need
وكذب بالحسنى
and denies the best reward,
فسنيسره للعسرى
we will ease him toward difficulty.
وما يغني عنه ماله إذا تردى
And what will his wealth avail him when he falls?
إن علينا للهدى
Indeed, incumbent upon us is guidance,
وإن لنا للآخرة والأولى
and indeed, to us belongs the hereafter and the first life.
فأنذرتكم نارا تلظى
So I have warned you of a fire which is blazing.
لا يصلاها إلا الأشقى
None will enter to burn therein except the most wretched one,
الذي كذب وتولى
who had denied and turned away.
وسيجنبها الأتقى
But the righteous one will avoid it,
الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى
he who gives from his wealth to purify himself.
وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى
And not giving for anyone who has done him a favor to be rewarded,
إلا ابتغاء وجه ربه الأعلى
but only seeking the countenance of his Lord Most High.
ولسوف يرضى
And he is going to be satisfied.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
والضحى
By the morning brightness,
والليل إذا سجى
and by the night when it covers with darkness.
ما ودعك ربك وما قلى
Your Lord has not taken leave of you, O Muhammad, nor has he detested you.
وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى
And the hereafter is better for you than the first life.
ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى
And your Lord is going to give you, and you will be satisfied.
ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى
Did he not find you an orphan and give you refuge?
ووجدك ضالا فهدى
And he found you lost and guided you.
ووجدك عائلا فأغنى
And he found you poor and made you self-sufficient.
فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر
So as for the orphan, do not oppress him.
وأما السائل فلا تنهر
And as for the petitioner, do not repel him.
وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث
But as for the favor of your Lord, report it.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
ألم نشرح لك صدرك
Did we not expand for you, O Muhammad, your breast,
ووضعنا عنك وزرك
and we removed from you your burden,
الذي أنقض ظهرك
which had weighed upon your back,
ورفعنا لك ذكرك
and raised high for you your repute.
فإن مع العسر يسرا
For indeed, with hardship will be ease.
إن مع العسر يسرا
Indeed, with hardship will be ease.
فإذا فرغت فانصب
So when you have finished your duties, then stand up for worship,
وإلى ربك فارغب
and to your Lord direct your longing.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والتين والزيتون
By the fig and the olive,
وطور سينين
and by Mount Sinai,
وهذا البلد الأمين
and by this secure city Mecca.
لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم
We have certainly created man in the best of stature.
ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين.
Then we return him to the lowest of the low,
إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون.
except for those who believe and do righteous deeds, for they will have a reward uninterrupted.
فما يكذبك بعد بالدين.
So what yet causes you to deny the recompense?
أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين.
Is not Allah the most just of judges?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق.
Recite in the name of your Lord who created.
خلق الإنسان من علق.
Created man from a clinging substance.
اقرأ وربك الأكرم.
Recite, and your Lord is the most generous,
الذي علم بالقلم.
who taught by the pen,
علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم.
taught man that which he knew not.
كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى.
No, but indeed man transgresses,
أن رآه استغنى.
because he sees himself self-sufficient.
إن إلى ربك الرجعى.
Indeed, to your Lord is the return.
أرأيت الذي ينهى.
Have you seen the one who forbids,
عبدا إذا صلى.
a servant when he prays?
أرأيت إن كان على الهدى.
Have you seen if he is upon guidance,
أو أمر بالتقوى.
or enjoins righteousness?
أرأيت إن كذب وتولى.
Have you seen if he denies and turns away?
ألم يعلم بأن الله يرى.
Does he not know that Allah sees?
كلا لئن لم ينته لنسفعا بالناصية.
No, if he does not desist, we will surely drag him by the forelock.
ناصية كاذبة خاطئة.
A lying, sinning forelock.
فليدع ناديه.
Then let him call his associates.
سندع الزبانية.
We will call the angels of hell.
كلا لا تطعه واسجد واقترب.
No, do not obey him, but prostrate and draw near to Allah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر.
Indeed, we sent the Quran down during the night of decree.
وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر.
And what can make you know what is the night of decree?
ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر.
The night of decree is better than 1,000 months.
تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر.
The angels and the Spirit descend therein by permission of their Lord for every matter.
سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر.
Peace it is until the emergence of dawn.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
لم يكن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين منفكين حتى تأتيهم البينة.
Those who disbelieved among the people of the scripture and the polytheists were not to be parted from misbelief until there came to them clear evidence.
رسول من الله يتلو صحفا مطهرة.
A messenger from Allah reciting purified scriptures
فيها كتب قيمة.
within which are correct writings.
وما تفرق الذين أوتوا الكتاب إلا من بعد ما جاءتهم البينة.
Nor did those who were given the scripture become divided until after there had come to them clear evidence.
وما أمروا إلا ليعبدوا الله مخلصين له الدين حنفاء ويقيموا الصلاة ويؤتوا الزكاة وذلك دين القيمة.
And they were not commanded except to worship Allah, being sincere to Him in religion, inclining to truth, and to establish prayer and to give zakah. And that is the correct religion.
إن الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب والمشركين في نار جهنم خالدين فيها أولئك هم شر البرية.
Indeed, they who disbelieved among the people of the scripture and the polytheists will be in the fire of hell, abiding eternally therein. Those are the worst of creatures.
إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية.
Indeed, they who have believed and done righteous deeds, those are the best of creatures.
جزاؤهم عند ربهم جنات عدن تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه ذلك لمن خشي ربه.
Their reward with Allah will be gardens of perpetual residence, beneath which rivers flow, wherein they will abide forever, Allah being pleased with them and they with Him. That is for whoever has feared his Lord.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها
When the earth is shaken with its final earthquake,
وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها
and the earth discharges its burdens,
وقال الإنسان ما لها
and man says, what is wrong with it?
يومئذ تحدث أخبارها
That day it will report its news,
بأن ربك أوحى لها
because your Lord has inspired it.
يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم.
That day the people will depart, separated into categories to be shown the result of their deeds.
فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره.
So whoever does an atom's weight of good will see it.
ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره.
And whoever does an atom's weight of evil will see it.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
والعاديات ضبحا
By the racers panting,
فالموريات قدحا
and the producers of sparks when striking,
فالمغيرات صبحا
and the chargers at dawn,
فأثرن به نقعا
stirring up thereby clouds of dust,
فوسطن به جمعا
arriving thereby in the center collectively.
إن الإنسان لربه لكنود
Indeed, mankind to his Lord is ungrateful,
وإنه على ذلك لشهيد
and indeed he is to that a witness,
وإنه لحب الخير لشديد
and indeed he is in love of wealth intense.
أفلا يعلم إذا بعثر ما في القبور
But does he not know that when the contents of the graves are scattered,
وحصل ما في الصدور
and that within the breasts is obtained,
إن ربهم بهم يومئذ لخبير
indeed their Lord with them that day is fully acquainted.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
القارعة
The striking calamity.
ما القارعة
What is the striking calamity?
وما أدراك ما القارعة
And what can make you know what is the striking calamity?
يوم يكون الناس كالفراش المبثوث
It is the day when people will be like moths, dispersed,
وتكون الجبال كالعهن المنفوش
and the mountains will be like wool fluffed up.
فأما من ثقلت موازينه
Then as for one whose scales are heavy with good deeds,
فهو في عيشة راضية
he will be in a pleasant life.
وأما من خفت موازينه
But as for one whose scales are light,
فأمه هاوية
his refuge will be an abyss.
وما أدراك ما هي
And what can make you know what that is?
نار حامية
It is a fire intensely hot.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
ألهاكم التكاثر
Competition in worldly increase diverts you,
حتى زرتم المقابر
until you visit the graveyards.
كلا سوف تعلمون
No, you are going to know.
ثم كلا سوف تعلمون
Then, no, you are going to know.
كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين
No, if you only knew with knowledge of certainty,
لترون الجحيم
you will surely see the hellfire.
ثم لترونها عين اليقين
Then you will surely see it with the eye of certainty.
ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم.
Then you will surely be asked that day about pleasure.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر
By time,
إن الإنسان لفي خسر
indeed mankind is in loss,
إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
except for those who have believed and done righteous deeds, and advised each other to truth, and advised each other to patience.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
ويل لكل همزة لمزة
Woe to every scorner and mocker,
الذي جمع مالا وعدده
who collects wealth and continuously counts it,
يحسب أن ماله أخلده
he thinks that his wealth will make him immortal.
كلا لينبذن في الحطمة
No, he will surely be thrown into the crusher.
وما أدراك ما الحطمة
And what can make you know what is the crusher?
نار الله الموقدة
It is the fire of Allah, eternally fueled,
التي تطلع على الأفئدة
which mounts directed at the hearts.
إنها عليهم مؤصدة
Indeed, hellfire will be closed down upon them
في عمد ممددة
in extended columns.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل
Have you not considered, O Muhammad, how your Lord dealt with the companions of the elephant?
ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل
Did he not make their plan into misguidance?
وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل
And he sent against them birds in flocks,
ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل
striking them with stones of hard clay,
فجعلهم كعصف مأكول.
and he made them like eaten straw.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لإيلاف قريش
For the accustomed security of the Quraysh,
إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف
their accustomed security in the caravan of winter and summer.
فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت
Let them worship the Lord of this house,
الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف.
who has fed them, saving them from hunger, and made them safe, saving them from fear.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين
Have you seen the one who denies the recompense?
فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم
For that is the one who drives away the orphan,
ولا يحض على طعام المسكين
and does not encourage the feeding of the poor.
فويل للمصلين
So woe to those who pray,
الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون
but who are heedless of their prayer,
الذين هم يراءون
those who make show of their deeds,
ويمنعون الماعون
and withhold simple assistance.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
إنا أعطيناك الكوثر
Indeed, we have granted you, O Muhammad, Al-Kawthar.
فصل لربك وانحر
So pray to your Lord and sacrifice to Him alone.
إن شانئك هو الأبتر.
Indeed, your enemy is the one cut off.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل يا أيها الكافرون
Say, O disbelievers,
لا أعبد ما تعبدون
I do not worship what you worship,
ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد
nor are you worshippers of what I worship,
ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم
nor will I be a worshipper of what you worship,
ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد
nor will you be worshippers of what I worship.
لكم دينكم ولي دين.
For you is your religion, and for me is my religion.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح
When the victory of Allah has come and the conquest,
ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا
and you see the people entering into the religion of Allah in multitudes,
فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا.
then exalt Him with praise of your Lord and ask forgiveness of Him. Indeed, He is ever accepting of repentance.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب.
May the hands of Abu Lahab be ruined, and ruined is he.
ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب
His wealth will not avail him, or that which he gained.
سيصلى نارا ذات لهب
He will enter to burn in a fire of blazing flame.
وامرأته حمالة الحطب
And his wife as well, the carrier of firewood.
في جيدها حبل من مسد
Around her neck is a rope of twisted fiber.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد
Say, He is Allah, who is one.
الله الصمد
Allah, the eternal refuge.
لم يلد ولم يولد
He neither begets nor is born,
ولم يكن له كفوا أحد
nor is there to him any equivalent.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
قل أعوذ برب الفلق
Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of daybreak,
من شر ما خلق
from the evil of that which He created,
ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب
and from the evil of darkness when it settles,
ومن شر النفاثات في العقد
and from the evil of the blowers in knots,
ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد
and from the evil of an envier when he envies.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
قل أعوذ برب الناس
Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind,
ملك الناس
the sovereign of mankind,
إله الناس
the God of mankind,
من شر الوسواس الخناس
from the evil of the retreating whisperer,
الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس
who whispers evil into the breasts of mankind,
من الجنة والناس
from among the jinn and mankind.